Television shows have influenced our perception of Stone Age people, but the reality is different. When we think of the art produced during this time, we might imagine it to be crude and imprecise. If this is your impression of Stone Age humans and their culture, then you will be surprised by recent research on prehistoric art. Each of us would have slightly different imaginings of art during the Stone Age, depending on our background and our interests. However, paleontologists or scientists who study prehistoric life now tend to link the development of human cognition to their ability to express themselves as artists. These scientists argue that the act of representing the world in symbols actually may have foreshadowed the beginnings of language. The first human artistic representations seem to have occurred about 100,000 BCE. All were created in the time period before the invention of formal writing, when human populations were migrating and settling on every continent except Antarctica. We refer to this era as prehistoric, or belonging to the stage before recorded history, or as the Paleolithic, the Old Stone Age. Some of the most dramatic examples of prehistoric art have been found in the caves frequented by Stone Age humans. Many of them are from as early as 30,000 years ago and are located in southern France and northern Spain. The best known are Lascaux in France and Altamira in Spain. The majority of the subjects in these works of art were animals: bison, reindeer, horses, and even mammoth. The explanation for the cave paintings is still a matter of speculation even today. One possibility is that these Stone Age people were creating paintings purely for aesthetic purposes. They just wanted to beautify their surroundings. However, since many of these works of art were found in places almost inaccessible to humans, such as deep within isolated caves or at the end of long passages, scholars theorize that paintings in such remote locations must have had some other reason. This hypothesis contends that they had some sort of agency, meaning these paintings were created to exert some power or authority over the world of those who came into contact with them. This line of reasoning argues that since these were hunting societies, possibly during times of scarcity, the hunters hoped to conjure up game by depicting them on cave walls, and maybe exercise control over the animals by capturing their spirits and coercing them to come closer to the hunters. Words are only symbols for ideas. However, the words we invent reveal a view of the world and can shape our thinking. An excellent example is the name people gave to the hundreds of small prehistoric statues of women they found. They are labeled Venus figurines after the Roman goddess of love. The most famous of these is the statuette of a woman called the Willendorf Venus, depicted with exaggerated sexual features. She has no arms or facial features, but she doesn't need them to convey fertility. Most scholars agree that these prehistoric voluptuous figurines reflected a deep interest in fertility and ultimately the survival of the individual and the family, all of which were matters of great concern to Stone Age people. Another surprising fact about prehistoric art is that artists used cartoon-like techniques to give the impression that images were moving across cave walls. A new study of cave art across France, in which animals appear to have multiple limbs, heads, and tails, has found that these cave paintings were actually primitive attempts at animation. When the images are viewed under the unsteady light of flickering flames, the images appear to move. Many of these paintings have two or more superimposed images which apparently represent movement. They show animals trotting, galloping, tossing their heads, or shaking their tails. For prehistoric humans, we can assume that the observation of animals was not merely a pastime, but a matter of survival. Whatever the explanation for prehistoric art, the production of the works themselves represented conscious and purposeful activity of a high order. The display of prehistoric artistic talent clearly testifies to the remarkable intellectual power of the human species.